today. Don't trust the media, and more, don't trust the media. You will not believe the headlines of the day, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the News and Why It Matters. I'm Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by my friend, America's favorite cowboy and future governor of Texas, Chad Prather, also host of the Chad Prather Show.
Scandalous.
Yes. So
I like being scandalous.
Do you?
Yeah, sure, why not?
You kind of thrive on it.
Well, it's better than being boring.
Well, you know what? You're not wrong there. Also joined by my friend James. How do I say it? Really
Klug.
But I feel like you got to do a.
You can throw anything in there, but I think it's German.
Klug.
It's German. I see nothing.
Klug.
I see nothing.
He is a YouTube host. You know what? I got to tell you guys something about James. He is one of the only people who has really amazing coverage of what is going on at the border. You know why? Because he's one of the only people who is actually there. Actually there. The mainstream media will not cover what is actually going on. James is one of the few who has been there, along with a lot of other, situations that have happened in this country that our friend Elijah Schaefer, who's on Slightly Offensive, he and you, and it's just a handful of you guys that go around actually documenting, truth.
The stuff that the legacy media runs away from because it's politically inconvenient to report on, we run in there.
It is truly amazing. All right, and you know what? Before we finish the show, I do want to try to talk to you, if we have time, about the border and what's going on at the border, because I know it's just been incredible what you've been able to uncover. Okay, so don't trust the media. I said. I feel like today's headlines are just exclusively just. Hey, this is what the media is telling you. By the way, they're working in conjunction with the left to push a narrative. Oh, and also, by the way, none of it is real. None of what you see is real. Let's start with what CBS did with Ron DeSantis, who I think you guys could agree is a front runner for 2024 if he chooses to.
100%.
Yeah, he is. I mean,
him, me, whichever.
and you also,
I mean,
you'll start to You'll start to notice he's going to be in the crosshairs of the media a lot more because they know that.
Yep.
They know that.
Yep. And they want to start pushing the narrative. Ron DeSantis is awful. Ron DeSantis is corrupt.
Yep.
And so on and so forth. So 60 Minutes, deceptively edited an exchange that one of their reporters had with Governor DeSantis 2 weeks ago about the way that Florida rolled out its vaccination program. Now, they were basically accusing him of a pay-to-play scheme where they said people donated money to his campaign, Publix, the grocery store chain in Florida, which, by the way, very overraid, I feel. Have you guys been to Publix?
Yeah.
I just heard about that.
Really?
Yeah. No, I have no clue
very
what that
overrated.
is.
I hear everyone loves them. Are you okay? Do you have COVID?
I'm apparently dying. I don't know. I grew up in Georgia. We had Publix, yeah.
Okay, am I wrong that it's overrated?
Never heard of it.
I mean, it's a
Everyone's
grocery
like,
store.
Publix, oh my God, there's
grocery
some
store.
sandwiches.
Is it high end or something?
No, is it? I mean, it seems average to me, but everyone talks about their sub sandwiches like it's a huge
It's no
deal.
HEB in Texas, let me put it that way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sounds fantastic.
Finally, someone
I've
said
never tried
it.
it there.
But so they accused Ron DeSantis and Publix of engaging in this pay-to-play scheme. So they said that Publix donated money to the DeSantis campaign in exchange for him awarding them a contract to host the vaccination, to have all of the vaccinations at their sites. They went through this whole big, this is what happened. He gave them the contract and they gave them pay. And so without boring you with a whole bunch, I mean, if you wanted to watch 60 Minutes, you'd be watching 60 Minutes, right? So I won't show you too much of 60 Minutes, but let me just show you, because guys, I want your take on this. Let's just show the 60 Minutes exchange that actually aired on the show with the reporter and DeSantis, and show that exchange. And then I'm going to show for you after that the actual full response from Ron DeSantis. So here is first the 60 Minutes clip that actually aired. Watch.
We wanted to ask Governor DeSantis about the deal, but he declined our request for an interview. We caught up with him south of Orlando.
Publix, as you know, donated $100,000 to your campaign, and then you rewarded them with the exclusive rights to distribute the vaccination in Palm Beach.
So first of all, what you're saying is wrong.
How is that not pay to play?
That's a fake narrative. I met with the county mayor. I met with the administrator. I met with all the folks at Palm Beach County, and I said, here's some of the options. We can do more drive-through sites. We can give more to hospitals. We can do the Publix. And they said, we think that would be the easiest thing for our residents.
But Melissa McKinley, the county commissioner in the Glades, told us the governor never met with her about the Publix deal.
The criticism is that it's pay to play,
And it's
Governor.
wrong. It's wrong. It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the facts because obviously I laid it out for you in a way that is irrefutable.
Well, I was
and
just
so
like-
it's clearly not.
Isn't there the nearest Publix in the Glades is
you're
30
wrong.
miles
You're wrong.
away?
You're wrong. Yes,
That's
sir.
actually a fact.
Okay, so very obviously,
Holy crap.
he looks like he is, shutting her down without really giving a huge response. Looks very combative, right? I mean,
Well, I mean, from my perspective, actually watching that, because I edit videos and stuff
Yeah.
like that, them kind of winding out his voice while
Yep.
they enter their narrator in to tell you like what the more important part is, instead of letting him explain it. They screwed up by putting that one last part in there where he says, oh, I just explained to you all this. They actually screwed up right there, because then people are wondering, well, what did he say?
yeah, they're like, did he really? I didn't hear him say that.
Said
sure?
I just disabused you of that notion.
Right. So, it sounded a little combative. I would argue they're trying to make him sound a lot like President Trump.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. You're
wrong,
wrong.
you're
You're
wrong.
wrong.
Exactly.
Let's get over it. No, I'm not calling on you anymore. Move on. So here is, because of course we have it, here is the footage of Ron DeSantis' full response to that question. A little bit more context, you'll notice. Watch.
You donated $100,000 to your campaign, and then you rewarded them with the exclusive rights to vaccination.
So first of all, what you're saying is wrong. That's a fake narrative. So first of all, when we did the first pharmacies that had it were CBS and Walgreens, and they had a long-term care mission. So they were going to the long-term care facilities. They got vaccine in the middle of December. They started going to the long-term care facilities the third week of December to do LTCs. So that was their mission. That was very important, and we trusted them to do that. As we got into January, we wanted to expand the distribution points. So yes, you had the counties, you had some drive-through sites, you had hospitals that were doing a lot, but we wanted to get it into communities more. So we reached out to other retail pharmacies, Publix, Walmart. Obviously, CVS and Walgreens had to finish that mission, and we said we're gonna use you as soon as you're done with that. For the Publix, they were the first one to raise their hand, say they were ready to go. And you know what? We did it on a trial basis. I had 3 counties. I actually showed up that weekend and talked to seniors across 4 different Publix. How was the experience? Is this good? Should you think this is the way to go? And it was 100% positive, so we expanded it, and then folks liked it. And I can tell you, if you look at a place like Palm Beach County, they were kind of struggling at first in terms of the senior numbers. I met with the county mayor, I met with the administrator, I met with all the folks at Palm Beach County, and I said, here's some of the options. We can do more drive-through sites. We can give more to hospitals. We can do the Publix. We can do this. They calculated that 90% of their seniors live within 1.5 miles of a Publix. And they said, we think that would be the easiest thing for our residents. So we did that. And then what ended up happening was you had 65 Publix in Palm Beach. Palm Beach is one of the biggest counties, one of the most elderly counties. We've done almost 75% of the seniors in Palm Beach, and the reason is because you had the strong retail footprint. So our way has been multifaceted, it has worked, and we're also now very much expanding CVS and Walgreens now that they've completed the long-term care mission. Yes? And it's wrong, it's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the fact.
Interesting. A little more context there, and just to throw this, just a little bit, and just to throw this into the conversation, the Democrat mayor of Palm Beach County, Democrat mayor, did you guys hear that? Says that 60 Minutes reporting was not just based on bad information, it was intentionally false. He apparently offered to refute 60 Minutes conspiracy theory, basically, based on his own personal knowledge, and 60 Minutes declined.
Never trust the media.
Well, this is actually becoming such a big problem. Like, I have a lot of people that reach out to me personally that are like, James, I want to learn about this. All that's popping up when I search it is like New York Times, and I know that they're just garbage, like or these outlets. Like I know that they're just going to have a very twisted kind of interpretation of what's going on. Right here, this isn't something that's rare at all. It's happening every single day.
Yeah.
And I mean, 100% this is intentional. 100% this is absolutely on purpose. And the biggest problem is, let's say they apologize for it. Let's say they get caught for it, whatever. We all know that the overwhelming majority of people will see that clip and they will never see the follow-up or the apology.
Yep.
And there's no accountability, right? This has become an entertainment industry. If it bleeds, it leads. So they have to make it as dramatic as possible. They don't have Trump to pick on anymore, although that hasn't stopped them from trying. So now they have to create a whole new Trump. And so anybody that is pretty plain spoken like a Ron DeSantis, they're going to, even when I watched that clip from 60 Minutes, I thought, man, he kind of looks like Trump right there. Even the angle they were shooting.
And his hand motions,
I mean,
the
you know,
loudness of his
Publix
voice.
is fantastic. The whole thing, it was just kind of like, it's very Trump-esque
Trumpian, yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
But they were shooting it that way. They were cutting it that way. There's no question about it.
I do think that's one good thing that a lot of politicians actually did adopt, though, from Donald Trump was we're not going to put up with the activist media anymore. You guys are asking an absurd. You guys are insinuating something that's just absolutely insane. There, you had Ron DeSantis completely destroy her, and she kept trying to push it even after he explained it.
She didn't care.
And he's just calling her out. And I think a lot of Americans actually like that. That's what they liked about Trump. And I think a lot of politicians, you have like Ted Cruz, like people adopted this sort of kind of not being afraid. Politicians adopted not being afraid to call out the media, and I think that's great.
Well, so I guess what is the answer? Is it just
That's my question right there.
we have social media, and therefore somehow we will get the word out far enough that it needs to go? Because the reporter in me, right, wants to go, there is the First Amendment. Like, they can say whatever they want. It's hard to touch that. But the other part of me is like, you know what? President Trump was correct when he called the mainstream media the enemy of the people. How do we fix it without infringing on anyone's rights?
So even in the seminal stages of me running for governor, and people think it's a joke. It's not a gimmick. We're actually doing this thing. The smear campaigns that are already happening, that are coming out, if people see it in some mainstream form, they think automatically it's got to be the truth, right?
Which is usually the opposite.
If they see it on social media, well, there's something questionable. But if it was vetted by the news media, whether it was a news channel or a newspaper or whatever it may have been, then it's got to be true, because certainly they vetted. They would never smear somebody without finding out the facts, right? No, she kept talking, to your point, James. She kept talking because they needed those sound bites for the edit.
That's exactly it.
That's why it doesn't. The context didn't matter. The commentary in the middle didn't matter. They needed the pushback so they could edit the sound bites later on.
Yeah.
And there's no accountability there.
I think when it comes to like, hey, what can we do? And a lot of Americans see this. They say, what can we do? Like, how do we combat this? Well, one, Sarah, obviously, both you guys with your shows and everything, you guys are combating it. However, there is no quick fix, because what's been done here has been something that's been done over decades. Over decades. We have allowed leftists to, or just maybe just psychos, to hop in media.
Some might argue they're one and the same.
To dominate the sector. The overwhelming majority of the mainstream media, obviously, is far left ran, and we all know this. This is no secret at all. The counterculture, the small group, is going to be the conservative journalists, conservative reporters, conservative shows, or at least conservative leaning. But I think the long-term fix to this is encouraging people. Hey, if you want to get into journalism, or you want to get into entertainment or anything like that, you want to start a show, and you're not even just conservative, but like just not crazy, just like center. I'm totally cool with that. That's fine. That's great. Encouraging those people to get involved as well, because this is a battle that we have to get more people in. We have to get more people becoming reporters, journalists, whatever it may be, to counter this. Because right now, they're over 90%.
It was true. I went to the University of Georgia to major in broadcast journalism. Great school of communication there. And I learned really, really fast, even then, in the early 1990s, that it was inundated with leftist views, with the ways of how do you change a story to fit a narrative. And it was disgusting even then. Now we know it's true.
Yeah.
We just keep sweeping it under the
Now
rug.
it's off the rails.
Yes, and again, they can continue to go further because there's no accountability.
Yeah.
What do you do to it?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do to this? That's why, and I will, a cheap plug here, but I believe that's why independent broadcasting like Blaze Media, you need to subscribe to Blaze TV if you haven't done so. Because this is where, like, look at me. I'm a white cisgender dude that, you know.
Very white.
Very white. We got a cowboy hat on and a wrinkled shirt. I mean, I'm just sitting here telling you my opinion. I mean, I come with zero authority. I'm just that blabbermouth that everybody hates, you know. And sometimes my dog is here and he barks. You know, that's just we're just real people telling you a real person's perspective on what's going on. It's not some polished, fully edited. That's the beauty of this. This isn't an edited show.
No, sometimes I wish it was.
Sometimes I wish it was. This isn't an edited show. It shoots in real time, right?
Yeah,
so we're not just like, oh, I said that wrong. Let me go back and let's fix this, and now we'll do it in post. There's none of that going on here. We're talking about the news. We're talking about why it matters. That's why we got to band together, because I'm telling you, if they had their way, if the CBSs, the ABCs, the MSNBCs, all these people, if they had their way, we would be obliterated.
Absolutely.
We'd be non-existent.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're doing their best working with big tech to make sure to try to do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, as Chad said, that's why subscribing to Blaze TV is so important. All right, we've got more to come, including, Chad, you mentioned Georgia is where you're from. So let's talk about that after the break, what's going on in Georgia with all of, I mean, Jim Crow 2.0.
I'm pissed off.
Literally absurd. That is insane to even compare.
I know. So you know what? Let's take a quick break and let's talk about that. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Candid. So maybe you're like me, and maybe as an adult, your teeth, you spent like a lot of money on your teeth a long time ago when you were younger, or maybe your parents did, and to get you this nice, pretty, straight smile, and then you stopped wearing your retainer because you were like, I'm 19 years old. I don't need to wear a retainer. I'm cool and I'm in college. I'm not going to wear that. And then your teeth shifted and you were like, oh, crap. Now my teeth are crooked again. That is where Candid is going to come in. It has worked for me. It can work for you. It is a clear, comfortable, removable, practically invisible aligner to help straighten your teeth. And by the way, you can do it all from home. All right, so Candid sends you the impressions. You take the impressions, you send it back to them. Everything is monitored remotely by a licensed orthodontist who is an expert in tooth movement, and they are going to send you back all of these aligners step by step by step in the order that you need to wear them. So you're going to get all the same quality of care that you could get from an in-office orthodontist from the comfort and convenience of your own home. But they're going to give it to you at way, way, way less money. It costs way less than braces, and it's way cooler because people can't see them and they're not going to call you brace face. Okay? I'm just saying. So if you need straighter teeth this year, you got to go to Candid. They're going to save you money. They're going to save you time as well. We know your time is valuable. You got to start straightening your teeth today. You can save $75 on Candid's starter kit if you go to candidco.com/Y. Use promo code Y for that $75 off. Right now, it is candidco.com/Y, promo code Y, candidco.com/Y. Back in a minute. So we brought you on Friday. We talked about the Joe Biden, who was, I guess he was just asked a question that he was answering. And I guess we should just be thankful that he was able to form a cohesive sentence. But Joe Biden kind of putting pressure on MLB to pull their All-Star game out of Georgia because, as we know, Georgia just enacted this horrible, horrible law. They don't allow black people to vote anymore. They rolled back. Oh, is that not?
Stacey Abrams got her way.
Is that not what happened?
If you're watching the mainstream media, that's probably what you're getting out of it.
Yeah, basically.
It really is, because I'm watching the reaction on Twitter, and there are actually people who are saying this. It's
like
discriminatory.
Yeah.
It's Jim Crow 2.0.
Yeah.
They're hearing these talking
Well, they just
points, and
piggybacked
that's what they think.
on what the President of the United States said. Now, keep in mind, like for me personally, I don't really mind after Trump. It's like rhetoric. If the policy's good or whatever, you say something stupid every once in a while, that's fine. You compare something that's not racist at all to Jim Crow, and we might have a problem here.
Right.
Yeah, big deal, Chad.
You know what'd be cool with a $1.9 trillion stimulus package is if everyone in America got a federal ID. Like, just issue it to them. You get an ID. You just show up, get your picture made with your information, and you've got an ID for free.
minorities don't know where to go.
They don't know
show
where to
up for a
go.
picture,
They don't
please.
know how to smile.
No, they don't
They
understand.
turn their backs to the camera because they're just that stupid, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's how
what
dumb the logic is, right?
It is.
I mean, you've done man on the street interviews with plenty of folks. You've talked to people in black communities, and you said, "Do you have an ID?" And they're like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?"
Yeah, why would I not have an idea? Are you racist? Do you think I can't get that? Well, yeah, it sounds like many people think that they can't get IDs. It's actually, I don't know. It's like this is a group of people. This whole woke argument saying that they can't get these IDs. They are actually being the most insulting, the most racist people that exist in the United States right now, and they don't even know it. They don't even know it. Yeah. They don't even know if they're being
the racism,
the most racist.
Inherent racism in all of that, and not to mention the fact you're going to pull the major league, you're going to pull the All-Star game out of Atlanta because of this, right?
Right.
You're going to take $100 million away from a community, from a baseball game.
Who voted for Biden, right?
A community that voted for Biden, right? A district. Do you know who works at the ballpark? A lot of minorities work at the ballpark. So you're going to take that money out of their pocket. You know whose businesses are around that ballpark? A lot of minority-owned and run businesses. You're taking that away. So $100 million you're going to take out of that community, where people are going to stay, where people are going to eat, where they're going to dine, where they're going to drink, they're going to have a good time, they're going to go out. But no, let's take it all away. Because as you've stated to me in conversation, it's one thing to virtue signal and say all these things, but you don't see the ramifications behind the thing. You regurgitate the talking points. Yeah. Sounds good. But you don't see the ramifications of what you've just done.
Yeah. Well, you sound like you're almost sympathizing with people, although it doesn't make sense. But you sound like you care in a way. Yeah. Well, in this case, we had woke policy that just destroyed local businesses, destroyed local jobs, all that stuff, all in the name of the appearance of being woke. That's quite literally it.
Yeah, Governor Brian Kemp issued a statement saying Georgians and all Americans should fully understand what the MLB's knee-jerk decision means. Cancel culture and woke political activists are coming for every aspect of your life, sports included. This attack on our state is the direct result of repeated lies from Joe Biden and Stacey Abrams about a bill that expands access to the ballot box and ensures the integrity of our elections. I will not back down. Georgians will not be bullied. We will continue to stand up for secure, accessible, fair elections.
Look at the extent of crazy rhetoric that they're willing to go to counter a more secure election process.
Right. Doesn't it make you wonder, why do you guys not want this?
Why do you hate it? You don't need to be on the right to look at this and say, what do you guys got against secure elections again? What's going on here?
We can't even agree on that.
And I will give credit where credit is due. My opponent in the gubernatorial primary process here for the election in 2022 here in Texas, he did come out, Governor Greg Abbott did come out with a statement to the head of the Texas Rangers, because typically he throws out the first pitch on opening day. Seen him do it numerous times. Last year he did it virtually because, COVID, and the state was shut down.
Did he really?
Wait, how do you
he sits on the Capitol steps there, and he throws the ball, and then
it goes to
it's like it's a video, and it pretends like it's going all over Texas, and then it lands in the catcher's mitt.
How not cute at all.
But he turned down. He said he will not support Major League Baseball in any way. Because of this, and kudos. I mean, it's a slam to the teams, but the teams and the players and the individual, organizations didn't have anything to do with this decision.
Right.
This is the executives at the top. The executives who, by the way, just signed an extension with Chinese-owned company named Tencent to make sure that they are streamed in China. This is the same company that banned the NBA in 2019. Because of Daryl Morey's comments about the human rights violations and conditions that are going on in China. This is that same company who stopped streaming the NBA. The Major League Baseball Association just signed another extension with China. I ought to tell you everything you should know about pro sports these days, really. It's a damn shame.
It's crazy because these major corporations in the United States, these major corporations are the loudest about quite literal fake issues here in the United States. But when it comes to what you're talking about, human rights violations in China, everything like that, I mean, this stuff's crazy egregious. just crickets.
Yeah.
Not even
It's crickets.
Sometimes it's worse than crickets. Sometimes they come out and they'll say things like, well, I mean, China has a right to do what they're going to do. They have their own government. Who are we to be getting involved in China's business?
Yeah, we'll spend China's money, though.
Right, right. Yeah, it is pretty egregious stuff here. All right, we have got more to come after the break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Issue. So I'm sure that you guys know this, especially if you are on social media all the time. First impressions are everything. They really matter a lot. So if you are someone who you're looking to make an impact with your online content, you need Issue, okay? Issue is the easiest way to make your creative ideas. You can share them seamlessly everywhere you want them to be seen. It is an all-in-one platform to create and distribute beautiful digital content. They've got marketing materials, magazines, flip books, brochures, and more. You guys know PDFs are outdated, all right? Issue is going to make your content way better. It is going to seamlessly work with tools you already use, Canva, Dropbox, InDesign, whatever you need it to work with. Make it once, distribute it everywhere you need to without reformatting. We know your time is valuable, all right? So use Issue and save time. Your content is already optimized for engagement, ready to share. It is going to help creators, marketers, designers, anyone who wants to make their content stand out. Now, you can start using Issue for free. They offer premium features that offer a more customized experience, but get started right now today for free. Or if you sign up for a premium account, you will get 50% off if you go to issuu.com/podcast. Use promo code NEWS. They spell it very hip, okay? So listen to what I'm saying. It is issuu.com/podcast. Use promo code NEWS for 50% off of your premium account or for that free account to get you started. Issue.com/podcast, promo code NEWS. Back in a minute. All right, we are talking about media. Oh my gosh, how they're so badly flipping the narrative, inputting their own personal opinions, just basically trying to destroy the country is all. See what you guys think about this one. Jim Acosta, I know. If you guys have not taken your blood pressure medication today, make sure, go ahead and pause this broadcast and take that blood pressure medication, because you're going to see not only Jim Acosta, but also Potato Head Brian Stelter in the same shot. Okay, so you have been warned.
Crazy narcissist network.
The estrogen-filled Brian Stelter here to give you the news. Jim Acosta was talking this weekend, and when he appeared on Brian Stelter's show, he talked about how, Trump is just still messing with all of their heads, as if that's not something we already knew. Watch.
Hey, I'd love to hear from both of you how D.C. journalists are adjusting to the Biden era. Jim, this is your first weekend anchoring here on Saturday and Sunday afternoons. Do you feel like your rundown, your lineup is really different than it would have been in the Trump years?
When you're asking me if I was run down, I thought you were referring to how I felt during the Trump era. No, I think that, listen, I think we're all dealing with some post-Trump stress disorder, other than that happy Easter, as he was saying in those statements a few days ago. Listen, as Annie was just saying a few moments ago, there are questions about why aren't Republicans getting on board with these Biden proposals. There were Republicans who were getting on board with overturning the election just a couple of months ago. And so we shouldn't have high expectations for that. But in terms of stacking shows and what comes first and what comes second, Brian, you and I both know this all too well. We did cover the news before Donald Trump came along, and we did it pretty well. And, there's going to be plenty of stuff in the news out there, and it doesn't have to have Donald Trump in the headlines for us to continue to exist, especially when he's putting out these statements. When he was president, he was doing things that were beneath the office of the presidency. Now he's doing things beneath the office of the post-presidency. He's not going to change, but we need to change with the times.
Oh my God, I can't deal with it. I can't. I hate it when people say that, but I freaking can't. They're like, well, we need to be better and move on. Yeah, but you're sitting here dedicating a segment to talking about him, and it's not just that segment. It's all the time. When you flip on CNN, MSNBC, you go read their social media, it's about Trump. Anytime you bring up anything about Joe Biden, they're like, well, yeah, but Trump. And I'm like, Trump isn't president anymore. When are you going to move on? We have all moved on. I think everyone at this table, are we clear? Like, Trump is not president. We've moved on. We're over it. Why can't the left get over it?
You've got a human life crisis going on at the southern border. Let's talk about that.
Thank you. Please.
Hunter Biden tried to smoked Parmesan cheese. Let's talk about that.
Please.
They just took $100 million from minorities in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's talk about that. There's a lot of things that are out there, but they can't hate Trump. They just can't hate Trump right now.
They pretend like there was a lot of this talk when Joe Biden won. Oh, the return to normalcy.
Yeah.
The return to normalcy. It's like what is normal about right now?
Right.
Last month we had 171,000 apprehensions at the southern border. Your guys' stance is yes, children should be taking hormone blockers and all that stuff. Be able to basically chop off parts of their body and make those decisions under the age of 18. What part of this stuff is normal?
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason why they have this sense of calmness is just because their team won. They're the activist media. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the more they can shift, I think, the word normal to mean just whatever they want it to mean. That's just better for their agenda.
There's nothing normal about what's happening right now.
Right, but I feel like they think the more that they repeat it, they keep repeating it and keep repeating it, people will be pre-programmed. And I think the sad part is there are a lot of people who will be reprogrammed to just say that.
There's a lot who are, but I think
100%.
the average person out there sees through the baloney. I hope they do, at least, which demonstrates how out of touch these folks are with the reality of the average American.
Right.
Totally agree.
Okay, in this same vein that we're talking about, whatever the media covers, there's always a narrative there. Whatever the media doesn't cover also may be something to look into. So Friday, we also brought you the breaking news at the time of our taping that there was, the Capitol was on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Capitol Police had just been attacked by a man in a car, came out with a knife. He was shot. We found out that he later died along with one of the officers. And they apparently, the more and more they got into the story, they realized that it was a man who identified himself as a follower of the Nation of Islam. And just like that,
Gone.
I didn't see the story anymore.
Nope.
I mean, it just disappeared because I guess he wasn't a white man.
I tweeted at the time. I said, well, we just found out the identity of the guy that attacked, so that'll be about the last we hear of that. And of course, people came at me and said, well, it's trending right now. It's leading on CNN. Yeah, right now, because it's still happening.
Right.
And a Capitol police officer being killed is, of course, a national story. That is a national story.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. And you're 100% right. If that was a white individual, that maybe if it was like a Trump supporter or something like that, this would be a discussion for maybe the next year. Honestly, it would be talked about for a very long time, and it would also support their narrative, the mainstream media's narrative, that it would be beneficial to continuously bring it up, so you know every little detail, and you won't know every little detail because that wasn't the case. That's not what happened.
I haven't heard, and this is an honest question, maybe you have, but do you know if this officer's body is going to lie in state at the Capitol?
I don't know.
Because it happened after January 6th, right, with the officer that lost his life in that situation. But does that fit the narrative enough to now continue to expose this and put light on it? Will this officer's body lie in state the way the others did? That is going to be very telling of how this narrative is pushed.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'll also be interesting too because, as we know, he used a knife, right? So can we have the conversation maybe about mental health and the best way to go about solving that problem in America? Because now they can't blame the gun, which they've been able to do in all of these previous, you've got the Atlanta.
Unless you're Ilhan Omar, who comes out and tweets and says, well, if it had been an AR-15, it would have been a lot worse.
Well, that's the thing, too.
God.
People were tweeting out, people were mocking her because they were like, the possible modifications. Hopefully we've all seen this. Hopefully the viewers know what I'm talking about here. Yeah. The possible modifications meme, and it was like, possible modifications. And it was like, imaginary AR-15. Because at this point, it's if it's not fitting the narrative, they'll go ahead and add something in there that has nothing to do with the situation to help their narrative. It's psychotic. It's actually pretty insane.
They're like, okay, so I have this the little shape sorter for my baby, and they're like the ones who are taking the circle and just trying to slam it into the square peg, and they're like, it's gonna fit. I'm gonna make it fit. I don't know how yet, but I'm gonna make it fit.
That's like if I ended every tweet I ever did. Kudos to Governor Abbott for standing up for the rights of Texans and blah blah. And I love Sarah Gonzalez. Like at the end of every tweet, I just say, oh, and I love Sarah Gonzalez. After a while, people would be like, I think he's trying to make a point.
For sure.
I mean, who can blame you for that point, though? All right.
We catch a lot of crap over that, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, oh God.
It's
we
torrid.
could do a whole. Yeah,
it's torrid.
We could do a whole
Chad,
show just
you
on
and
that.
the rest of the United States. Okay?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, stop. Okay, keep going. All right, we got to go to break. We'll be right back.
I don't know what America's sweetheart in Spanish is.
An NPR article released earlier this week suggests that there is now a debate as to whether Americans should continue to wear masks even after the COVID-19 pandemic is over. I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn. Well, yes, I do. But we've been telling you guys this since the beginning, since all these stupid mask mandates. I know my friends sitting right here especially, we sat here and we told you guys, if you guys give them this inch, they will not let you take it back. And now we are having that conversation. They said, well, other illnesses have dropped dramatically since mask wearing. So they cited flu and cold transmissions. And they said, maybe we should just wear these mandatory masking after the pandemic ends. I mean, you know, screw the kids in schools. Screw the mental health crisis that they're going through because of all these, you know, this mask stuff and everything associated with the pandemic.
James and I were sitting in my place last night. We were having a little drink. You know, we were just talking about all the world's issues.
Oh boy, here we go.
And,
Just a little.
We were talking about.
This is how every bad story starts.
We were talking about this very thing, but we're talking about from the government perspective. You know, once the government starts regulating things and they get involved, they don't get uninvolved.
Right.
And
sure.
so
Never.
This is a situation where now this thing has been so widely accepted, it's hard to undo. Now, you would think that more people would say, I don't want to wear a half-face safe space. I don't want to keep muzzling myself. I don't want to wear an American burqa. I don't want to put that over my mouth. You would think that that'd be most people, but it's simply not.
Well, you know what's interesting about this is even in this article, the medical professionals that they quoted, they didn't even say that there was evidence that the drop in other communicable diseases has been attributed to masks. It might be instead due to the fact that people are more diligent about maybe they're calling out of work now when they feel like they're sick, they're staying away from other people, that there could be other reasons for that. And this article, it tries to kind of, again, form that narrative that, well, there is an ongoing debate about this, along with another. There was a Yahoo News article earlier this week that said, or last week that said, should we keep wearing masks after the pandemic ends? And all of the experts that they quoted, like, none of them said that. None of them said that.
This is the thing that, like, for some reason people aren't understanding. It's like, once you have vaccination, that's all you can do. After that, like, the virus isn't going anywhere. It's not like, oh, we wear masks for one more year, the virus will go somewhere. No, I mean, that is as much as we can do.
What about the variants, James? The variants.
Yeah,
the variants.
And then we get a bunch of new variants, and then we have to lock down for another 10 years. I actually did a video, and every once in a while I'll do a fun video. Most of the videos are like kind of intense, but
like when you're getting chased by a baseball bat.
For sure.
A dude with a baseball bat.
For sure,
I
yeah.
missed that one.
Yeah. North Philly. People in Philly don't mess around. Yeah, we did a funny video, and we were kind of trolling people doing the masks, and we got people to sign a petition supporting 3 masks, mandatory, federal mandated, which isn't even possible, but federal mandated, like, triple masking, and I'm wearing a face shield while doing it. They're like, yeah, sounds great. A lot of people would say, oh, well, we should wear masks for 2 more years, and I was like, oh, we were thinking 3, and they're like, yeah.
Oh, totally.
I mean, yeah.
And it's just like, none of these people think, okay, once you got the vaccination, you're good. That's it. You have to return to normalcy, to use the Democrats.
Well, there's a recent poll that came out that said that the majority of Americans say that even vaccinated, they would not attend a ticketed event. So no concerts, no ball games, nothing of that nature where there's crowds.
It's incredible.
So even fully vaccinated, they still won't do it.
Well, so I hope my neighbors don't watch my show. I have neighbors that, well, I mean, all I can say is exactly what you just said, that they had said, we're totally vaccinated. We've gotten both shots, and they got them like a while back, and they're just like, yeah, well, we're still laying low. We're not really trying to go out anywhere. And it's like, but
I'll tell you,
why'd you get the vaccine then?
Sometimes I look through your windows, and I'll go across the street and I'll look at your neighbors' windows. They're not watching this show. They're not.
Okay, thank you.
They're doing some other things.
I'm good. I'm glad
I've
you
flown
could clear
into
that
town
up.
a couple times, and I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, but we got a couple minutes left. So while we're talking about James' videos, let's talk about what you saw at the border really quickly, because I think it really is important for the people. I'm so fascinated by the manila envelope that you saw at the airport. So can you tell everyone about that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to let everyone know, I've spent, I spent 7 days at the border, South Texas, basically RGV, Rio Grande Valley. And one thing that we noticed actually when we got down there is the airports are filled with migrants that crossed into the United States illegally, straight up, and went to their facilities and then got released. And when they get released, they go to wherever it is and they get these manila envelopes. They say, I don't speak English, help me figure out what flight I'm on. And I've had my Spanish-speaking source figure out some details. I also have other street reporters and journalists that have gotten some information as well. And they're being given around $2,500. They're getting a free flight, and they're pretty much going wherever. So you go down to McAllen, Texas, which I don't know when the last time you guys went down there was, but
every weekend.
Every weekend, yeah. But you go down to McAllen, Texas, the international airport down there. Even Dallas, you can if you go to the airport, you can see them, and you'll see illegal immigrants walking around with their manila envelopes going to pretty much a city of their choice, wherever they want to go. And the Biden administration is obviously letting people out because they're actually letting people out right now without a court date because our facilities, our detention facilities, are so overwhelmed that they're just letting people out.
30,000 since January.
Yeah, it was bad enough that they were letting them out with a court date, that they were letting them into the country.
Well, the court date's a joke. It's like, sure, but
hey,
I'm gonna come
make sure
back.
you show up for that court date. Wink, wink.
100%, I'll be there. But now they're just doing it completely without. I mean, at this point, they're quite literally disrespecting people that actually had to sneak across the border. I swear. I mean, it's absurd. But yeah, so the manila envelopes, you go down to the airport down there and you can see, usually your flight's going to be, if you're going in the afternoon, honestly, probably about 80% is going to be illegal immigrants with manila envelopes that are just, it's their welcome. It's their, what do you call it, party favor? It's their goodie bags. It's their,
goodie bag.
They're being given those.
VIP pass.
They're going wherever they want in the United States.
It's incredible. Yeah. Incredible. Well, thank you for doing the work that Brian Stelter can't be bothered to get off of his fat butt and go do.
Yeah, it's a shocking sight down there for sure.
Oh, God. All right. And you know what? Let's take a break. And then when we come back, I want you to tell everyone where they can find your videos. Cool. We'll be right back. All right, James, tell everyone where they can find your content. Because, guys, you got to go there because this is really important footage you're not going to find on the mainstream media, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. So I do YouTube content when it comes to street reporting and street interviews, and that's going to be youtube.com/James Klug, K-L-U-G. And if you want to see Klug. And if you want to see my reporting at the border, everything like that, Real James Klug, K-L-U-G, on Twitter. So check it out there.
Yeah, make sure that you go there. All right, and then let's read a podcast review really quickly. Remember, go to wherever you find your audio podcast, subscribe, rate, and review The News and Why It Matters. Give us 5 stars. Obviously, we don't deserve anything less than 5 stars. In fact, I think there's a glitch that if you even try to hit less than 5 stars, it won't let you.
That's facts.
So you just need to hit the 5 stars. All right, here's one from Che Crisotomo. I don't know. My daily go-to podcast. Absolutely love this podcast. From in-depth conversations to funny commentary, you can bet that The News and Why It Matters will make your day and keep you informed on what's going on in this crazy world. I love Sarah's sassiness. Please. Sassiness, not me. And my all-time favorite guests are future Governor Chad Prather and Eric July. Can't wait to listen to more. I just love that everyone is using the future Governor of Texas, Chad Prather.
Torrid, I tell you.
Oh, God.
The smear campaigns.
We know the truth.
That's great.
Between me and your husband.
Yeah, probably. They can't get over that either.
I know. Good.